Article 1 gave us Congress, the branch that writes the laws. But laws don't enforce themselves. They're just words on parchment unless somebody carries them out. That's where Article 2 comes in, the presidency. The framers had a problem to solve. They had just broke free from a king who abused power. Then they lived nearly a decade under the Articles of Confederation, where there was no executive at all, and it was absolute chaos. Too much power had been given to them. Too much power had given them tyranny, and too little had given them paralysis. Article 2 was their gamble to land somewhere in the middle. Welcome to our republic.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political band,
sailors and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers. Not
those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, what you will be.
We pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Look at this guy.
Oh, thank you.
America.
Section 1, the office of the president. The first section of Article 2 sets up the presidency itself. It does a lot of the heavy lifting. A single president, not a committee, not 3 executives, but one person. And this was a huge leap of faith. Many delegates wanted plural executives, so no single man could dominate. Others feared a committee would be indecisive. The compromise was one president, trusted with real authority, but checked its limits. There's a term of office, 4 years, with the option for re-election. Some wanted lifetime tenure. Some wanted very short terms. 4 years struck a balance, long enough for stability, short enough to avoid monarchy. Right? The selection method, the electoral college. Each state gets electors equal to its senators plus representatives. State legislators decide how electors are chosen. In the early years, many states didn't even hold a popular vote. Electors cast ballots for president, and if no candidate wins, a majority, the House decides, and with each state delegation casting one vote. This system wasn't elegant, but it was a compromise that balanced the big states and the small states, Congress and the people, stability and accountability. Eligibility. Only natural-born citizens at least 35 years old and 14 years a resident. Framers wanted maturity, loyalty, and a strong connection to the country. Succession. If the president died, resigned, or was removed, the vice president would step in. Congress could also legislate future rules of succession, ensuring continuity. The oath of office, perhaps the most famous line. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States, and I will do my best, do the best of my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. This oath tied the president not to Congress, not to the people directly, but to the Constitution itself. Section 2 talks about the powers of the president, and it arms the president with real authority. First, he's the commander-in-chief. The president leads the armed forces and the ability to act quickly in war and crisis. Treaty power, but only with 2/3 approval from the Senate. Not secret royal, there's no secret royal diplomacy, right? Appointments, judges, ambassadors, military officers, all needing Senate confirmation, which hopefully that's getting, like, Senate's been dragging its feet right in our current times, right? They're breaking tradition and dragging their feet for a lot of these appointments. Pardons. The president can forgive federal crimes. The president can forgive federal crimes, a sweeping mercy power that has sparked controversy ever since. This wasn't ceremonial authority. For the first time in history, an elected leader had the tools of a king, but bound by law and oversight. Section 3 of the article. Duties of the president. If Section 2 gives the president teeth, Section 3 tells him how to use his teeth. The State of the Union. The president must report to Congress the state of the nation. Originally, this was meant as an occasional update. Today, it's the annual spectacle that we all know. Recommend legislation. The president can propose measures to Congress, setting the agenda. Convene or adjourn Congress. In extraordinary situations, the president can call Congress into session or dismiss them. Receive ambassadors, which sounds ceremonial, but in practice gives the president control over recognizing foreign governments. Commission officers, formally appointing those who serve the nation. And then above all, the take care clause. Inside Section 3 of Article 2 is one of the most important and debated lines in the entire Constitution. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. At first glance, it sounds simple. The president's job is to enforce the law. Congress writes it, courts interpret it, president carries it out. But this clause is the backbone of executive power, and over time has been the center of America's biggest constitutional battles. And what it meant in 1787 is that under the Articles of Confederation, laws were often ignored because there was no executive to enforce them. States could shrug and they could do their own thing. And under King George III, laws came from the crown which were enforced however the monarch pleased. The take care clause was the middle ground. It made the president a servant of the law, not its maker. But it also gave him the responsibility to make sure that those laws didn't just sit on paper. Faithfully execute. The word faithfully wasn't just decorative. It meant the president wasn't free to enforce laws however he liked. He had to apply them honestly without twisting them for personal or political gain. The president wasn't above the law. He was bound to uphold it. Limits and controversies. Of course, presidents have pushed the boundaries. Some have claimed faithful execution gave them discretion to interpret laws broadly. Others have been accused of ignoring the laws they disliked, and that's why Congress and the courts have often stepped in debating how far the clause reaches. And why it matters. The take care clause sounds small, but it also separates a strong executive branch from a monarch. The president enforces the laws, but he doesn't write them. He enforces them faithfully, not selectively. And if he fails, he can be checked by Congress, the courts, and ultimately by the people. It's the constitutional reminder that the America is a government of laws, not of man, right? It's the constitutional reminder. Section 4, impeachment. Finally, Article 2, Section 4 reminds us that no president is above the law. The president, vice president, and all civil officers can be removed from office on impeachment for treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. This was the framers' final safeguard. A powerful executive was necessary, but if that power was abused, Congress could bring him down. Article 2 was a leap of faith. The framers designed a presidency strong enough to lead a nation, yet bound by law, elections, and accountability. It was unlike anything the world had ever seen. The fears of monarchy never fully disappeared, but Washington's example, the Constitution's checks, and the 2 centuries of practice have kept that office in balance, at least most of the time. Really appreciate you taking the time to listen, and remember, history isn't boring, especially when the American presidency began as a gamble against a monarchy and became the anchor of the longest running republic in the world. Thanks for watching. See you next time.